Hi, Steve here in the Down to Earth Woodworking Shop. You know, over the last couple of years, I've had a few comments and emails about my router table, asking questions about how it was built. And then recently, when I did the shop tour, I got an awful lot of emails after that, again, asking about the router table. And I apologize, when I built this, I didn't do a video, I didn't even do a drawing. But I thought I could do a short video now and give you some details on the construction, maybe give you some ideas if you're going to build a router table. I'll also provide the dimensions as we go along, but at the end of the video, I'll put a couple of photographs with the dimensions on those photographs, and if you want to, you can pause the video there and write the dimensions down, or you can just pause the video and do a screenshot and print it out and you'll have the dimensions. Like most of the cabinets that I build in my shop, I started off with 2 layers of 3/4 inch plywood on the bottom. Gives it a great deal of stability and a great mounting place for the swivel locking casters. The construction is all 3/4 inch plywood and all dado joinery. Started with the base, and I dadoed in 2 vertical uprights here that support 1 horizontal piece that runs the length here. And then I have another vertical piece here supporting the subtop. The subtop is under this top here to provide a good firm foundation and make sure this always stays flat. Now I have a number of drawers in this. The top drawer, which is about 2.5 inches deep, is tools and the instruction manuals and the throat plates and things like that that go along with the Incra positioning system. This drawer is all router bits, and this drawer is pretty much all router bits except for a collet set for my handheld routers. There are 2 equal sized drawers on either side here for handheld routers. I've got a large handheld router over here. I've got a medium sized handheld router in this one and a trim router in this drawer. And these 2 drawers here, this one has a couple of accessories, and it also has a little thing that I use sometimes when I'm making dados. It's a little jig called a dado whiz, and it comes with its own little case, and it's sitting in this drawer. And in this drawer is accessories for handheld routers like edge guides and things like that. This is the section where the router is located. It's on a hinged door. This is a quarter cable, I think it's a 7518 variable speed router motor. And it's mounted in here, and it's wired into a switch on the side of the cabinet here where I can turn it on and off. So the only thing I have to open the cabinet for is just to adjust the speed. You'll notice in the back there is a dust collection port, and I've got air relief holes that are partially hidden by these handles on this door. Now, one of the things that I don't like is I think I should have provided some kind of tapered thing to sort of aim the chips into that port. Now, I was running this for the most part with a much smaller dust collector, and since getting my new dust collector, I haven't had nearly the problem in using this. But before, with the smaller dust collector, I was getting a pretty good mound of chips in here, and I mean, it was taking out a lot of them, but it certainly wasn't getting them all. The other thing that I screwed up, I'm sorry, that's not good terminology for a video. The other thing I messed up is this door. I put it together with just poplar panels glued together, and unfortunately these were flat sawn panels and they warped, and you can see it's kind of sticking out down here, it's flush here, and it's kind of sagged over here. I'm going to redo this door one of these days when I get some time, but that's one of the things that I should have done better. Another thing that I want to do, and I'm going to do this pretty quick, is I'm going to form a little box that can mount over the electrical for this switch. Now all these connections are sealed. I've sealed them all with heat shrink tape, but I just don't like the idea of the dust getting all over the wires going into this switch. So I'm just going to make a little box that I can put over this and kind of screw it in on both sides just to keep that covered. Okay, now we're on the back of the unit here, and this is where my dust port comes out. And Incra provides a dust port here as well for the fence. So what happens is your chips get sucked in here, and the chips that fall through get sucked out here, and it all goes out into a 4-inch port. This is actually pretty nice. Unfortunately, this kind of sticks out in the back quite a bit, so when I'm done routing for a while and I'm going to push this up to the wall, I remove this and I gain about 6 or 7 inches of space, and I can push this up closer to the wall. One of the things, I mounted my power cable for the router. It goes to the switch and then to the router itself. I mounted that in the unit, but I made the cord way too short. I don't know exactly why I did that, but I would go more towards the Festool, you know, like 13 feet of cord if I was to do this again. So let me show you the side now where the switch is, and then I'll show you the top and a little bit of the Incra system. Okay, this is the end or side view, however you want to look at it, and you can kind of get an idea of the size of the unit. This is my switch. It has a safety interlock if you ever need that. I don't think I've ever pulled mine out. I'm not sure I know how to use it. But if you had kids or something that were coming in your shop and you wanted that safety interlock, it is built into that system, which is kind of nice. I used swivel casters on this, and the casters that I use raise the cabinet up 4 inches off the floor. The cabinet itself, the box itself, is 30 inches high, and front to back it's 25.5 inches deep, and the overall length of the cabinet is 40 inches. And if you think about that with a 27 by 43 top, that sort of makes sense. Again, if I was going to do it again, I'd probably make the cabinet just a little bit more narrow and give myself just a tiny little bit more overhang both on the front and on the back. There are times when I like to attach a fence on the left side and run material through with a fence on the left hand side, and I find myself having to clamp just at the ends where it would be preferable to clamp front and back here. Alright, so here's the top of the router table. Again, this is the Incra LS positioning system, their router plate mount, and their top. It all works together as a system. It all comes pre-cut. The holes are even pre-drilled for mounting the positioning system, and the whole box was basically designed to fit this system. The Incra system, you can see it on their videos. They have wonderful videos about their system, but basically it is hyper well built, extremely tight tolerances on everything. You can get it into rough position and then use this little wheel and adjust it literally by hundredths or thousandths of inches. You can use these tapes here to reset into certain positions, so you don't have to do all your operations at the same time. If you need to go back to a setting, it goes back to exactly that setting. This is the little hole where you put in your crank handle to crank your router up and down. The plates are mounted with rare earth magnets, and they're in there really good. And there's different sizes for different router bits, which is nice. And I actually like having this track here. This comes in handy sometimes. I'm not sure if this is an option, I can't remember, but this riser here allows you, it's flush with fence, so it allows you to run tall material across it like this. Now, I've got a sub top underneath this entire thing, and what I did when I was building the cabinet was I set the router table top onto the cabinet and its sub top. I got it exactly in the position that I wanted, and this opening was already cut, so I traced around this opening to make the cutout in the sub top. I then went and enlarged that about 1/8 of an inch, and then I cut out the sub top to accept all of this assembly. Then to mount this, I got it back into position again, and because it's this super dense MDF material, 1.5 inches thick, it doesn't shrink or contract or anything, so I just went in from underneath with square drive wood screws and screwed it down, and it's been rock solid ever since. Well, that's my router table. Again, I apologize that I didn't do a video on the build, and I don't have any plans for it. But if you have any questions, be sure and jot me a line. And whatever you build's probably going to turn out better anyway. So I'm looking forward. Send me some pictures of what you do. Thank you for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I'm getting ready to start a rather big project here, and it's probably going to wind up being a 3-part video, so I really look forward to seeing you for that. You take care now, and thanks again for watching.